y'all? It's your girl Breezy, and you know I love to run my mouth. This is just a quick rant, I guess, about the series 911. So, I'm not sure if anybody watches the series. If you don't, it is a very good series. And I have watched it from the beginning. I've actually rewatched it while I was waiting on them to come back. One season, the whatever season it was, when the writer's strike had happened and all of that stuff happened in terms of the actors and the writers and everybody was striking and stuff. I rewatched from season one just to go back and remember because there's so many seasons. I don't know exactly how many, but so many seasons that you kind of forget. Like, oh, I remember when it first started, Athena was married to Michael, and that's when you first, find out about their marriage falling apart and how Athena and Bobby got together and how Buck was with Abby at the beginning, all of that. Okay, fast forward to this last episode. Really, these last two episodes, because I love this show. There's always a guessing feature, in terms of like the storyline and what's going to happen. But what I'm mad about and what I'm upset and in my feelings about, why do they do Maddie like that? Why do they do Maddie like that? I know that all of the characters have had their traumas and their, trials and tribulation, but I feel like, why do y'all keep putting Maddie in kidnapping situations? That is just so wild to me. Now, if we go back in history, when Maddie first came to the 911 series and we met her, she comes and she's, Buck's sister, and then she ends up being a 911 operator, basically takes Abby's place. And the first incident that happened with her, wasn't it with the ex-husband? The ex-husband kidnapped her. Then the whole thing with the postpartum depression. Now this detective done kidnapped her, and I feel like it's a kidnapping that I'm missing mentioning. But I can't think right now. But I just felt like after this woman was already kidnapped by the ex-husband and that whole jazz, why we gotta be kidnapped again by this crazy detective lady? It was a really good storyline. If you didn't watch it, so I'm going to talk as if you already watched 911, and if you don't, go ahead and catch up. So, first episode, this back for this season. Maddie gets that call, 911. The man is saying basically he didn't want to have to hurt these girls, and she tried to talk him out of it. She ended up lying and saying that she wasn't going to have the police come to him, and she did have the police come, of course. Like, you on a call with 911. Like, if they tell you, well, I'm not going to have the police come, baby, you should know that's a lie. But anywho, and so they eventually, like, find that guy. Well, they didn't find him. They found where he was. He had, like, a little trap house where the phone was, but he wasn't really there. Eventually they got this detective working on it, and he called back into 911, and Maddie, apologized about lying, and eventually convinced the man to kill himself over the phone. And later on, we find out that he really did not kill himself, that this crazy detective lady killed herself. And I already knew it was something with her when they first took those. So the man kills himself. I'm putting that in quotes. He kills himself while he's on the phone with Maddie on the 911 call. They find all of these trinkets and things from different girls who had went missing. And it kind of, closes up the case with a nice little bow on it. But something, of course, when we're watching it, don't feel right. We could see that this little detective is like flaky. Something's wrong with her. But I guess Maddie was questioning it, but Maddie really never said anything to anybody. But the detective already had felt like, when they brought those trinkets and stuff, like, oh, they finna be on my tail. So she kidnaps Maddie, puts on the chloroform. Maddie is pregnant. And then she goes missing. And, Chimney is thinking because she had the postpartum the last time, she went missing before, that she has gone and done it again, but that really wasn't the case. And if I'm watching the episode, I'm like, come on, Athena, let your little tingly say something ain't right about this. And sure enough, when they came out of there talking, she was like, something ain't right, something off. And so they started doing more and more investigating, and they eventually found out that it was the crazy detective lady. And we see that Maddie is resilient, she fights her way through. But I just was like, why y'all gotta do my girl like that? Why y'all gotta do my girl like that? My girl just came off this postpartum situation. Her and Chimney was going back and forth about whether or not they wanted to have another baby, because she wanted to have another baby and he was nervous about doing it. They both wanted to have another baby, but he was nervous about it because the last time when she had the baby, she ran off and left him and the baby, and she was gone for some time, and that was a whole big thing. But like, she's just found out she's pregnant, and her life is kind of getting back to normal. And it's like, here y'all come again with another traumatic situation. I know that's kind of how life be happening sometimes, but these is like major traumatic situations back to back to back to back. And like, give my girl a rest. But that's all. I had really wanted to I want to run my mouth about 911 because I feel some kind of way that these folks did Maddie like that. Why y'all do my girl like that? Anyway, y'all, thank y'all for coming. Be sure you subscribe. Be sure you like, you comment. Tell me, do y'all watch 911? Either the regular one or Lone Star? Be sure to drop it down below. Be sure you come back for the next time I run my mouth.